Welcome to Inside Roanoke. I'm Melinda Mayo, the Communications and Media Officer for the City of Roanoke. We're here at the main library to talk about activities the library is doing right now, but we're also going to hear about the Belmont-Fallon target area and a lot more, so stay with us.
Keeping Roanoke streets safe is up to all of us.
Last year, of all the fatalities that we had, more than half were crosswalks related.
When a person walking is hit by a car traveling at 20 miles per hour, 9 out of 10 survive. But when a person walking is hit by a car traveling at 40 miles per hour, only 2 out of 10 survive.
In northwest Roanoke, Melrose Avenue, West Side Boulevard, and Shenandoah Avenue are heavily trafficked corridors which pass through residential areas. The difference between the 85th percentile speed and the posted speed in a recent study was 6.2 miles per hour over the posted limit. Average maximum speeds range from 12 to 18 miles per hour over the posted limit.
This street that we're right now standing beside is West Side Boulevard. It's really important for getting students in and out. It's our main course for our buses, so being able to have traffic coming along here going at a decent speed. We do see often speeders in the mornings and in the afternoons when we are doing dismissal and arrival. That kids go to school here. Kids live here, live in this area. We want our kids to be able to be safe when they come to school. There's certain times when we do have situations where kids are in this area either playing, so we need people to be responsible.
I am Cheryl Mosley. I am the director of Feeding Southwest Virginia Community Solutions Center here on Melrose Avenue. All the time you hear horns blowing from cars cutting out in front of speeding cars. We just kind of wonder, where are people going so fast and why? One of the main things that makes it really difficult is that it is multiple lanes to get across. So even if you have drivers who are safe and they're driving appropriately, and you've got our neighbors kind of they're crossing 4 lanes of traffic just to get here or onto the other side. And there's a lot to watch out for, and I think that causes a lot of problems as well.
In terms of education, I think we have to try to teach our students, and model for them what we want them to do. So if we want our students to be, good drivers when they get on the road, we've got to model that for them. And as a community member, we want to be able to show them that every day.
Keeping Roanoke streets safe is up to all of us.
We want you to remember to stay safe and to drive with caution in the city of Roanoke, and just be wary of all the other vehicles on the roadway.
We're asking people to take a pledge and make safe driving a priority for our city. We're asking neighbors to become neighborhood ambassadors, be the spokesperson for your neighborhood. Tell the people that you care why safe driving is important to you.
Give yourself time to get there, because we'd rather you make it than not make it at all.
Take the No Need to Speed pledge at planroanoke.org/pedestrian safety.
No need to speed.
No need to speed.
No need to speed.
Together we can make our streets a safer place.
My guest is Keith Holland. Keith's the HUD Community Resources Administrator for the City of Roanoke. And Keith, we want to talk about the Belmont-Fallon target area and what the city is doing. Start by talking about, why are we focusing on these neighborhoods? Give some background.
The city typically has invested a majority of our HUD funds into targeted neighborhoods for a prolonged period of time, generally about 5 years. Okay. We've been doing this for about 20 years now, and so our latest target area is the Belmont-Fallon target area. It is a very rich area of older southeast Roanoke, rich in history of residential, commercial, and industrial uses, and we chose it because of, in large part, because of very active neighborhood associations and a strong base of community stakeholders that we felt we could work positively with to bring about positive change for the neighborhood.
And are you going to hold, or are we holding monthly meetings for these stakeholders to get together? Talk about that a little.
We are. We've been meeting in conjunction with the Southeast Action Forum on the second Tuesday of each month. We've recently moved our meetings to the Belmont Christian Church, to their fellowship hall. Meetings are also offered online through Zoom for those that that can't or do not want to appear in person.
Right.
But the meetings are held beginning at 6 o'clock each second Tuesday of the month. And while we want to get as many of the neighbors out, certainly open up to anyone else in the city that would like to, that would have an interest in what we're doing.
So I know you're just starting to have some of these meetings and conversations. Is there anything, improvements already being talked about or planned?
Yes, we have $1.6 million of funds of HUD, CDBG, and home funds targeted in the neighborhood for this year alone.
Okay.
During the course of the 5 years, we look to have $8 to $9 million invested total. But this year we're focusing primarily on housing through new homeownership opportunities for low to moderate income individuals, through Habitat for Humanity. We're also doing some limited home repairs of $15,000 or less through Renovation Alliance, major home repair of in excess of $15,000 through TAP, and also doing some rental development through Restoration Housing and new homeownership opportunity through Reach of Roanoke.
So we have several community partners working with us. Anyone else you want to mention? That
We do. We're also going to be working, some of our funds are going to the Roanoke Police Department to do some bicycle and foot patrols in the neighborhood. There is concern about crime, so our funds are going to be used to improve crime awareness and to address public safety issues.
So we're just getting started with the meetings, and plans are just starting to formulate now. Anything that's currently underway, or?
We will soon begin working with a group called Emerging Leaders of Architecture, who have worked with us on the past 2 target areas we've worked with. They will be working beginning in January with the neighbors to develop some concepts, some ideas on creating what we're calling a neighborhood center for the 9th Street commercial corridor. This will probably result in a very nice streetscape project, maybe some commercial facade improvements, infrastructure improvements, stormwater drainage, pedestrian lighting, a number of improvements that we typically make in a target area before we end. But that's what we're going to be working on in the next few months.
And is there anything else you'd like to add that we haven't mentioned about this target, this focus on this area?
Well, the architecture of Southeast Roanoke is beautiful, and our intent is to preserve as many architecturally significant properties as we can. If we are building new homes through Habitat for Humanity, they do an excellent job of designing their homes to blend in with the surrounding architecture. Southeast Action Forum is a great organization to work with. They have dynamic leadership and great members that are really stepping up to the plate to be active and involved in working with us on planning for the next 5 years in the neighborhood.
So we have reason to believe it's going to be a success.
I think it's going to be a real success story, yes.
Well, if someone who's watching wanted more information, is there a contact? How could they get information?
They should contact me. My office number is, of course, 540-853-6404, or probably the best way to reach me is by email at Keith, Keith, .Holland, HOLLAND, at RoanokeVA.gov.
Well, it's exciting, and thank you for coming and sharing it with us.
You're quite welcome. Yes, we're very excited about this opportunity.
I'm talking to Amber Lowry, and Amber is the Youth Services Manager for Roanoke Public Libraries. Hey Amber, we want to talk about story times at the library. Tell us when those are, what kinds, who's your audience. Talk about those a little bit.
Absolutely. So now that we've wrapped up the end of our summer reading program, children are getting back into their normal routine. Kids are going back to school, so we're starting our story times back up. And so this is going to be throughout the fall, and we're really excited to be offering it. It's really for any age, so if you have homeschoolers, they can come to story time, but it's specifically towards preschoolers. For the children that aren't yet in school and aren't ready for kindergarten just yet, And our story times kind of help them get ready for those new transitions that are coming up in their life.
So how do people know where they're going to be and when they're going to happen?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website has our schedule on it as well as our Facebook page, and people can follow us on Facebook or on Instagram actually, and we'll have the schedule up. And so they are at every single Roanoke City branch. We have different times, different days, just to meet the different needs of our families in the city.
Why do these story times? What's the purpose behind it?
Yeah, story times are so fun for many reasons. First of all, we are trying to get our preschoolers ready for kindergarten, getting them school ready. So we're bringing in a lot of those elements that they're going to need to be successful students later on. But the other part is part of that socializing, getting kids used to coming in and sitting and listening to somebody in an instructional way, like a teacher or a librarian in this case.
Right.
Singing with us, reading with us, playing with us, and then also meeting friends and meeting new family members that might become lifelong friends, or just getting used to interacting with another preschooler. We've seen that many times when they start school. A part of that transition is learning how to work as a team and learning how to be a good playmate.
And also the parents come, and that's a good thing for kids and parents to do together, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a great outing for a grandparent to bring their grandchild, or a parent to bring, or a neighbor, whoever's caring for the child, especially while all the big brothers and sisters go back to school. This is a fun activity that you can do together, a special time of sharing. And a lot of times when the parents come, or grandparents, they end up socializing just as much as the kids, and meeting other parents that have young children, and talking about things that their children are going through, whether it's potty training or seeing big brother and big sister go away to school, or it's just a really fun way for people of like interest to come and talk and then
like a
read stories.
networking thing.
It really is.
Yeah.
It is.
And something else that I know the libraries wanted to talk about was the new schedule for after-school meals. Talk about that.
Right. So we have different schedules for feeding during the summer. We usually focus more on breakfast and lunch feeding. And so now that we're over and kids are going back to school, it's now after-school feeding. So we feed in the afternoon after school has let out. We are feeding at every single branch. That schedule is also on our Facebook page. And so we'll be serving lunch and dinner at that time with snacks.
Now, are there other activities associated with the meals? Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Feed and Read, part of that is being able to feed and offer these meals to children, but also have some literacy-based activities that surround those activities. So whether it's book clubs or different educational literacy-based programs, we always have things going on in the library. They usually get to take a free book home with them that they can add to their home library, as well as the meals. And again, just like with the preschoolers, there's also this element of socializing with liked classmates.
Right.
So you can come in and share a meal and hang out with your buddy, and really, focus around that, us being that community center of those resources.
Any other things going on at the library you want to add in there, let people know about?
Right. So beyond just feeding and story times, we have a new diaper bank. And so this is at our main library downtown on Jefferson. And we have a large supply of diapers, and so any family in need right now can just come in at any time and receive free diapers that they can take home. And so we're really encouraging people to come in, and people can also donate diapers to us, and we package them up in smaller packs of 24 so that when people come in, they can get the sizes they need and take it home. So just another way we're trying to reach the needs of the community beyond the feed and read, beyond the story time. We're really trying to take that into consideration of what the needs of our community are right now.
So if somebody wanted to either pick up the diapers or donate, would they just come to the front desk in the main library?
Yeah, and really to donate them, you can drop them off at any city library, and they'll send them down here. And if you're at a community library, say you're at the Melrose Library or Williamson Road, and you really are in need of the diapers, you can let the staff there know, and we will send the diapers over to the location that's closest to the patron. Yeah.
Well, I know you mentioned the website several times. Where can people get the information about story times, about the after-school meals? Give us a website.
Right. So it's roanokeva.gov/library. And then also they can call the youth services number, and they're a wealth of information too, and they can connect you with the right person, and that's 853-2955.
Well, there's always a lot going on at the library.
Absolutely.
And thank you for sharing it with us.
Thanks for coming out.
Keeping Roanoke Street safe is up to all of us.
Last year, of all the fatalities that we had, more than half were crosswalks related.
When a person walking is hit by a car traveling at 20 miles per hour, 9 out of 10 survive. But when a person walking is hit by a car traveling at 40 miles per hour, only 2 out of 10 survive.
In northeast Roanoke, Williamson Road and Liberty Road have long been problem areas for pedestrians. On average, more drivers speed on these roads than other studied roadways, with the 85th percentile traveling at 6 to 7 miles per hour over the posted speed limit. Unfortunately, that is translated into one of the city's biggest locations for pedestrian fatalities.
Hi, I'm Valerie Brown, the Executive Director for the Greater Williamson Road Area Business Association. It's a very busy road. It's a lot of cars moving fast, a lot of people trying to get from one side of the road to the other, and sometimes the two just don't work together well.
4 lanes road, no sidewalks, lots of intersections, lots of driveways. Businesses all around it. It's a speedway.
People want to beat the lights, or they just want to get from point A to point B as quick as they can.
Liberty Road as well is a big issue. It actually brings you out to Williamson Road. There's a lot of dips and a lot of hills. As soon as a car comes over, there's a residential over there. So people sometimes cross the street to get over, and then they get struck without being seen.
The City of Roanoke has a long-range plan, and we are partnering with the city to incorporate our long-range plan in that as well. Better street lights, better sidewalks, just more conducive so that people can move around easily and not have to walk along the side of the road, because we're all in this together. We have various modes of transportation. We have vehicles, we have bikes, we have scooters, we have wheelchairs, we have pedestrians, and we all want to get to where we're going, and we have to work together and think about each other and make it all come together.
Keeping Roanoke streets safe is up to all of us.
We want you to remember to stay safe and to drive with caution in the city of Roanoke, and just be wary of all the other vehicles on the roadway.
We're asking people to take a pledge and make safe driving a priority for our city. We're asking neighbors to become neighborhood ambassadors, be the spokesperson for your neighborhood. Tell the people that you care why safe driving is important to you.
Give yourself time to get there, because we'd rather you make it than not make it at all.
Take the No Need to Speed pledge at planroanoke.org/pedestrian safety.
No need to speed.
No need to speed.
No need to speed.
Together, we can make our streets a safer place.
My guest is Renee Powers, and Renee is the Trails and Greenway Coordinator for Roanoke Parks and Rec. Renee, we want to talk about National Public Lands Day, and that's coming up soon. When is that?
Sure, we're going to celebrate it here at the city on Saturday, September 18th at Mill Mountain Park from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
And because it's a national thing, there's some broad goals. Talk about that a little.
Sure, so it was first started in 1994, and it's designed to get people excited about public lands, go out and experience those lands, but also a way to give back to them and have some sort of volunteer opportunity while they're out there enjoying them.
So how is Roanoke going to observe this day?
We're going to have a trail work day on Mill Mountain. Many citizens were involved with our Mill Mountain Trails plan, which was approved by council this year. And we're trying to start a new trail on Mill Mountain that day. So we are going to have a big work day all day and provide lunch for folks and a free t-shirt and get people involved in understanding what it takes to build and maintain our trails.
Are you looking for volunteers?
We absolutely are.
How do people volunteer?
So if you go to playroanoke.com, underneath our volunteer opportunities on our website, you'll see a trail work option and they can sign up for it there.
And what's the value of this trail work? How does it benefit the city and the people who live here? Talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Citizens love our trails and greenways. It's our most used asset for a lot of folks. We have a lot of passionate individuals about continuing to maintain and expand that network. And building new trail allows for new opportunities to go to a different area of the park, but also gives us more miles. And especially in the time of COVID, it allows us to spread out a little bit more and still be active in a safe way.
So how does this initiative, how does it tie in with the Mill Mountain Trails plan?
Sure. So the Mill Mountain Trails plan was approved by council, like I already said, and it has maintenance priorities and new construction priorities for the current trails and then the new trails that are going to better connect our neighborhoods to Mill Mountain Park. This new trail that we're planning to build on National Public Lands Day is going to take folks to kind of a lower knob area of the park that has a beautiful view of the Roanoke River and kind of the southeast area of Roanoke. So continuing to get people more involved, it also helps them understand what it takes to build and maintain trails, and hopefully they'll take better care of them and spread that word to other folks that are trail and greenway users too.
So if somebody's watching and they say, I want to be part of that, how do they get in touch with you?
They can go to playroanoke.com, and on our website go underneath the Trails and Greenways tab. That has all the information about our trails, our greenways, as well as our volunteer opportunities, including this day. Or they could give me a call at 853-5867.
And you'll find something for them to do, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you for sharing all that with us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me today.
Sure. I'm talking to Sergeant Daniel Meyer. He's with Roanoke Police Department, and Sergeant Meyer is with the community engagement team that our police department has, works within the community. Tell us today, what does this team do? Describe it to us. What are some of their roles?
Sure. The community engagement team falls under the Community Response Bureau, and it consists of two parts, the community resource officer and the crime prevention officer. So community resource officers, there's one assigned to each zone of the city, and then there's two crime prevention officers. Community resource officers typically address citizen concerns, neighborhood problems, and try to resolve those issues, and also work closely with neighborhood watch groups. So if a neighborhood citizen, part of the neighborhood watch group, has a concern, they would call or email the community resource officer with their concern, and then we would work to resolve that issue.
So give us an idea of the types of things that the community engagement team does out in the community, things that you do, and maybe things we might not know that you do. How do you interact with people?
Sure. So one of the things that we do frequently is work with the homeless population. It really helps a lot to have the time to sit down with them and listen to their story, build a relationship, offer them services before we even ask them to maybe change one of their behaviors that is creating a problem in the city. So if I can sit down with someone and learn about their life, what led to them being homeless possibly, offer them services, whether it be clothing or sometimes medical services, work on getting them their identification or getting them into more permanent housing. So I've helped to meet their needs.
Yes.
And then I can say, you know, maybe on a later date, let's talk about your current situation and how it's affecting people around you, and work toward getting you into a different situation, a different environment, better for you and better for the rest of the citizens of Roanoke. And that's been very effective.
And a lot of other issues that come up, I know. Why is it important, do you think, for the community resource officers who provide these services? Why do we need them? Why is Roanoke, how are they useful and beneficial to us?
Sure. So as I stated, frequently a simple call to 911 doesn't fully resolve the situation that an officer responds to or that a citizen has. And so having the community resource officer who has built relationships with community members and with neighborhoods is an opportunity for the citizens to reach out to the neighborhood or the community resource officer, and that officer can work to identify the root causes of the problem, and then reach out to the other organizations that can then assist in resolving that issue. Give you an example is like officers frequently don't know the code or zoning code for the city.
Right.
And so we'll reach out to code enforcement and say, this is the issue at hand, dispute between two neighbors, and I'm not exactly sure what the law is surrounding this. And they can come in and say, okay, this is the law surrounding outdoor storage or trash removal or vehicle storage. And so educate the citizen first, then work with them on a time frame to get the issue resolved, and especially with the community resource officer, the last thing we want to do is charge someone, the enforcement side of it.
Right.
Usually through building a relationship, offering services to help someone, and then obviously requesting them to cooperate with us in resolving the issue, it's generally effective.
So you're really enhancing that relationship between the city and the residents.
That's
in
right.
many ways. Well, how do people get in touch with you and your team if they need more information?
So the best way to get in touch with the community resource officer or the community engagement team is through email. We all use an email group. That address is rpdresources@roanokeva.gov. And that goes to me as well as the community resource officers. Now, under ideal circumstances, we have 4 community resource officers and 2 crime prevention officers. Due to the extremely low staffing in the police department, there's currently 2 community resource officers, and that will be 1 here in about a month. 1 is retiring shortly. So we're having to be very selective about which issues are the maybe most egregious, and which ones we can address immediately. And we're also obviously referring some of the problems out to other departments within the city.
Well, it's very helpful to know. I hope those watching have a better understanding of how you all work with the community, and thank you for coming and sharing it with us today.
Thank you for interviewing me about this.
Thanks.
Stormwater is the water that runs off the land after precipitation, either rain or snowmelt.
With 10,000 inlets in our city, that means there are 10,000 opportunities for pollution in our streams.
Everything in our streets, sidewalks, and lawns, including oils, sediments, grass clippings, plastic trash, and much, much more, can be carried to stormwater drains by stormwater runoff. So remember, if it's in our streets, it's in our streams.
We can't do it alone. Everyone is a part of this watershed. Even small actions at work or at home can make a difference.
In the city of Roanoke, storm drains lead directly to local streams and the water is not treated. Only rain should go down the drain.
We believe in partnering with citizens to transform local waterways into community assets for those that live, work, and play in the Roanoke River watershed. Help us be part of the solution, not the pollution.
We hope you've enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next time on Inside Roanoke.